Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Solebury's 2021 All School Service Day. We are so excited to be carrying on a tradition today that has deep roots all the way back to Solebury's founding in 1925. Today is about helping build our campus and our community and helping greater communities around us. It's about working together and also for others. To give you a bit of perspective on how work and service are part of Solebury's story, Holly Victor, Assistant Director of Advancement, Resident Archivist, and Solebury alum, has more.
Hey everyone, I'm Holly. I work in the advancement office in the carriage house. And if you know me, you might know that one of my favorite things to do is talk about the history of Solebury School. So I'm really excited to tell you just a little bit about the history of community service here. Community service really has been part of our school since its very founding in 1925. In 1926, the Mitchner Farm was purchased by our founders, which is where we're located today. And the students and the faculty and the staff all moved onto the campus and had to work side by side to renovate the school so that it was a good place to live and learn. So they worked to renovate the barn for housing. They fixed up the farmhouse, which is now the main office, and used it as a library and offices. And they even dug a pond for recreation and swimming. So initially, a lot of the community service that we were doing was internal, right? It was fixing up the campus for the students and the faculty. With the onset of World War II, that changed like it did for a lot of people. So the community really turned its service mindset and work ethic to bettering folks outside of the Solebury community or outside of the school. 70 acres was actually tilled and planted for grain to aid in the war effort. Victory gardens were planted behind the main office, and football season was canceled because we actually needed to have all of the students, including the football players in the fall, pick all the apples. And an airplane observation post was set up in an old tennis shack and actually was manned 24 hours a day with staff and students taking turns. In 1949, we merged with Holmquist School, which was a girls' school right down the road, and we needed more classroom space and spaces for students, so we had to expand the campus. And Frank Ammirati, who was the dad of our own Peter Ammirati, had a student work squad. And working with some contractors and some professionals, they actually constructed the science building, which is now the Penny Center. And they laid all of the sidewalks and the walkways that you see around the G buildings and around the PAC. In the 1970s, Solebury students tutored the Philadelphia school children with something called the Parkway Project. It was like a school without borders, and they worked with patients at Trenton State Hospital. 70s, 80s, 90s, we had something we called Spring Work Day, where the entire community would come together and we would work to beautify and rehab our campus. And of course, we were also doing community service off campus. And then in the 2000s, there was the addition of work jobs where students were actually working on a weekly basis at a job somewhere on campus. So you can see community service and Community Service Day is a really long tradition at Solebury School that you should feel really good about being a part of.
As you can see, community building is woven into the very fabric of Solebury School. It's one of the many things that makes us great. While we know that many of you live the ethic of service in your individual everyday lives, we're so excited to take this day to work all together, side by side, to benefit our shared campus home and wider community. Nearly 100 years after Solebury opened its doors and students and teachers started building the school together, we are here today to continue in that tradition, to honor that legacy of hard work and collaboration. We'd love for you to continue this conversation in your advisory groups before you go to your service sites. Service Society has put together some questions for your consideration. While we sign off of the all-school assembly now, please stay to talk with your advisors until they release you to your activity for the day.